Ellen Barthier to another one of our fantastic quarterly webinars, which we are bringing to our wonderful real estate and property management, I guess, more specific industry and what we're doing. And it's just, for me, this is a topic that I have wanted to work on myself personally with my clients, and was really excited that when I brought the topic to you, we could work out a plan where there's a lot of value that we can bring our followers today with different ideas and approaches that are going to assist. So we've refined it down. It would have been so easy to have had more than 7 steps, and I know I gave you about 15 things, and I thought, oh, let's cover all this stuff. And true to form, Ellen keeps me in line, reduces my over talking and she ensures that I'm certainly well on track with the content to be provided. So we've got a fantastic presentation ahead for you all, and I'll certainly get that started for you. Now, 7 steps to maximising your conversion and growing your rent roll. So we're looking at some information that I have collected through a mystery shop. Probably sounds very scary for many of you, but certainly an experience that for me was very interesting to be involved with for my clients as well, and have thoroughly enjoyed. And to kind of go through and I guess touch on it first is probably the best thing, to make sure that you know the key points of what happened. And what initially, how it all played out was I was looking at the ways to try and mystery shop, and the hardest thing for me is that everyone's so clever. If they heard my voice, fine. If I was pretending to be a prospect, people would probably know now because there's so much video out there. So a lot of it I was doing based around email base and connection through that side. So of 15 officers that I connected with, just to give you a bit of an idea, only 10 of them actually responded to the inquiry. And to me, that's just crazy. And you'll hear more about those stats throughout my section of the presentation as well. Finding that some officers, they were responding within the first half an hour to other officers that were responding, and delaying responses for days and days. So it's just really crazy. And that kind of content is where I'll be heading. And then for Ellen specifically, she'll be really refining down into how you can manage that process. So the lead is there and what we're doing with the lead. For me, I'm wanting to make sure that we're capturing it so you could do Ellen's process. But with that little bit of delay there, I'm really happy, Ellen, because we're pretty much at close to capacity of registration. So let's get started and get right into it. To get the most out of this webinar today, it's really important that you do what you can to close off other tabs that are going to be of distraction to you on your computer, and to put your phone on silent, which I'm pretty confident I have, but I'm just going to make sure, yes, I do. If the, hearing that vibration of the phone call, just throw it across the room. If that's to be a distraction to you, do whatever you need to get that out of your space today, and really invest the time in this session. Headphones can certainly improve sound quality, so be sure to use them. Many of you will probably have a group together that are watching this presentation, and if you find yourself picking up on things and then you do miss things along the way, we are recording. So we will have an email like last time, Ellen, you're happy to working with that we can send out across the group, which would be fantastic, to make sure that, if we've talked a little quick over something, or there's something you want to rehash, in the coming months, then you can watch it back as well. Be ready to type questions. So do that throughout the whole time. If you think of something, it is absolutely best to make sure that you have it within the question section, because then I can go through that with everybody after the session. Ellen, on her side of things, can't actually see the questions, but I'll certainly keep a good track, which is part of the reason why I tend to go first, so that we can have a rehash of that and I can review those as she's presenting as well, and jump in and ask any questions that can help, really get to those fine points that are important to you. So be ready to do the questions, and we are moving quickly through the content. So do have pen and paper ready, which I've done the same thing here, and take as many notes as you can. And I do think it's really good. It kind of takes you back to the first point, to try and have pen and paper today, because if you are running 2 screens, which I am to run the webinar as such, but if you are doing it on a sense where you're typing your notes that way, that can also be very distracting as well, and other things can come up to distract you. So try and use this time as a meditation process of separation to all the other things that are happening in your office, and really embrace where we're moving forward with this. It is going to be a very, very fun session. So putting together, I guess, and talking about the mystery shop details at hand. And I know I touched on 15 offices of connection. Only 10 of them actually responded. So to this date, five offices have not even acknowledged the email. And I was quite cautious to ensure that I didn't email the BDM direct, because to me I felt that might be a bit too suspicious. Not in all cases, because I would respond to a lead regardless, but I felt that it needed to, I guess, have a bit more direct connection with the agency. And please do keep in mind, the reason I'm sharing this with you as well is not to pick on those five businesses, but potentially you can do the same thing in your area, in your marketplace, and you can mystery shop through email as well if you wish to. And these are some things that, definitely think about if an approach that you're wanting to take moving forward. The next thing that I did was I wrote the email in a way that was going to be as much as possible relevant, look like an investor. And I know that we've got a sample, I think, that comes up in the next slide there, Ellen, where it talks about that. Yep, I've got that here, and I'll just leave that on the screen for everyone. Looking at changing property management and had some plumbing issues, past 12 months inspections, and can you please help? So try to, if you're writing an email in that sense that you're wanting to do a bit of mystery shop to get some information on your competitors, do everything that you can to be speaking as though you are a landlord, not as a real estate agent, because they will pick that up very, very quickly. You could do something along the lines of where you could maybe send the email but then include a mobile number and mistype the numbers. So it's either missing a number by accident, and that just looks like a silly mistake that you've made. Making sure that there is a question there to help and assist, and also making sure that you've got enough there to make them want to respond, but to also share some detail. Now, many officers will be very determined to want to hold their information on their fees, and that's going to happen, which is fine. I've got a few comments now saying we'll be all suspicious that Tara Bradbury's mystery shopping our office now. Well, you just have to watch out. I've got lots of different alias names, so I can't confirm them all online in case I use one, but you never know who's doing it. And it could be someone within your own business, in fact, too. It could be, if you've got a business owner that's online today or a team leader, they might even decide to mystery shop your own business as well. So you should be prepared for this in how you respond. With this specific one, when the email was sent out, the concerns that I have is the fact that obviously the 5 that hadn't responded, the time frames of responses as well. So we had some officers take more than 48 hours to even respond to the initial response, some that didn't respond at all, some that were responding over the phone with, so email over the phone as such, and it said that they were on the run. And just some of the responses were blunt more than anything, which I found really uncomfortable with. And I'll expand on that. I felt that they were just rushed, and as though, hang on, I'm the BDM and I'm the one in charge here, and just give me a name and number, I'll have a chat with you and we'll sort this out. And that's pretty much it. No opportunity of questions to really assist and help them and engage in conversation. You have to remember that this process, when they have the first initial connection with you, and it does not matter if it's a Gmail address or an address that you can't match up to who it might belong to, you've got to treat every lead with the same respect as you would as though it's going to be your biggest client. So put that extra effort and energy in to ask the right questions and show that you put thought process behind it, compassion, personalize it a bit as well. You can always have a template preset, and those of the members know that I've got lots of different examples of how you can respond, but I would still think that you would put that in there and then still add a bit of flavor as to what the personalized touch point is of that initial inquiry, so that you can assist them, because they want to be heard within this process. And if we are missing things in the initial email that has been sent through, then it's going to be very, very easy to just think, well, if they're going to miss this in the very beginning, what would be expected then when it comes to the actual management of my property? Are they going to continue to miss more? The response that I've then gone back with has probably in some cases looked a little bit agent-like at the same time, but also has indicated, as you'll see here on the screen, it talks about what a day it's going from bad to worse, asking questions about inspections, arrears, and do you screen your tenants. Now, for me, I found that they were probably as an active agent, and it could have changed now, and I'm happy for people to share feedback on that as well. They used to be the common questions that I would be asked as a BDM of areas of concern they wanted to make sure were satisfied in making that move for their next decision. Arrears is obviously a hot topic and a big one. Nobody wants to have to deal with that. But you know, if this is the process that you're wanting to go down in doing some mystery shopping, then you can definitely get some really good information back and be talking and interacting with your agents as well. Other approaches you can do is that you can actually have maybe someone that you know in the area that has an investment property ask for that information for you. And if they are a strong business in rent roll growth, they might get harassed, I guess, for a little bit. But in a lot of cases, I didn't find it. The follow-up process for me was really concerning. I know I've touched on a few of these points and I'll enhance them again even more so, and probably sounds like it's on repeat, but the statistics are just shocking. 15 officers, 10 didn't respond. The first one responded within 30 minutes. The last one took at least 2 days. 6 of them have given away the fee packages. For me, that was enough data to work with my client as well. So that gave us a really good understanding of, I guess, as an average where the fees are positioned. And for the business that I work with, they are by far the highest charging, but not by a long shot. At most, maybe 0.5%, and that's nothing, you know, to be leading the market in that way. Some were at least 2, even 3% lower than them, which I found quite astounding, but not surprising either. Only 2 of them continue to follow up. So of the initial 15, the 10 have responded. 2 of them have continued that follow-up process, just checking in still via email and showing more passion and professionalism. And I've actually personally made contact with those businesses since, because my heart just breaks where they're thinking this could be my lead. So I've told, and they had a great laugh and said, well, we are excited to know that we've been doing the right thing, and know that obviously in the future that this will help us and assist us in getting the client, which is great. And those 2 businesses know who they are. So if you are online today, which I'm not sure if you are, but you've done a fantastic job and you know that. Some also, as I mentioned, responded via iPhone. Very quick response, very short detail, pushy and blunt at some points, where I feel as though the BDM has been in between appointments and they are feeling quite flustered and trying to keep up with it. And it would be far better for them to have had a template in the office that could have been sent out from the person who's taken that initial inquiry. Because what has happened is the email has been forwarded from reception to the BDM, and the BDM's not had access to any of their tool, I would think, on their phone. We are starting to get to a stage in technology where they could and be able to attach that information, but they haven't. So then they've typed really quickly, and it's just come across a bit too forceful. And 3 of the officers, this is one part for me that is a really strong talking point, is the fact that 3 of the officers offered the fee packages and mentioned they were negotiable before even speaking with me. And it just breaks my heart. It really does, that they've already said that, you know, while we are at this percentage, so let's work around the ratio of anywhere between 8, 7 and 6% as a standard. While we are at 8% plus GST, we do have a special offer at the moment where we're taking on clients at the 7% rate. And you've already taken away from the value of what you're meant to be delivering. So for that person who's read that, to me it says, I've still got room to move. They've already told me that 8%, you know, people will sign on that, but I don't need to. I guess it's kind of the same theory as when you go into the jewelry store and they're having a massive sale and you see what the full price is, and people will still pay that full full price, I can guarantee you, because the businesses wouldn't be operating if everybody was only paying sale price. So then you're putting yourself in that position before you've even had the conversation. And I ask for everyone is online today that you never, ever, ever in your email state that you are heavily negotiable, because you are doing yourself a disservice to the immense amount of value that not only you deliver to your clients, but also what your team delivers to the clients that they're talking to, and any prospects that are also coming into the business as well. I guess to add to that, I've had a similar situation where I've had salespeople that have said, and this was something that I experienced in the past as well, just to add to it, that if you purchase the property with us, then because you have done that, the standard fee would normally be 8.5%, but because you've purchased through us, we'll give you a discount of 7.5%. And that just breaks my heart as well, because I don't see why it should be any different just because you've purchased a property through the business and to get that added bonus. I would think that you'd be in a better position if you had said that we'd love to offer you the first month complimentary by being a buyer, and you're still retaining that full fee to a point, but not offering that negotiation straight away, because again, you're just devaluing your work that you do and that amazing asset that you're building as well. And each time you reduce on your commission, it slows down the process to bring on a next team member. And that doesn't matter if it's someone that's a full-time person that's physically coming to the business. I know, Ellen, you've got an amazing background, and it's not the topic we're covering today in the way of outsourcing, but that still comes at a cost. You know, while that might be a reduced cost, there's still a cost there. So the portfolio needs to grow to be able to support that. So based on my results, and we won't go too much further into that today because we've got some great tips to be able to assist and help. We've got our 7 tips to maximize this with your landlord and achieve a higher conversion and better results. So for me, I'm up to the stage of the check the lead source, and I've noted that down, Ellen, because I'm in big fear that I'll just keep talking, and then I'll jump into your topic by accident. So it will not be happening. So impress the potential landlord in the very first contact that you do, whether it be via phone or via email. You need to be putting your best foot forward as though they are a client that is coming into the business with either, you know, up to 100 properties or 1 property, which is such a massive variation of example, but it is so true. That first point of contact, whether it be that you are responding on your phone or text message or email, or the lead come through to you and you are answering the call because the officer sent it through to you directly, do not answer it if you are in a state of rushing back to do something and you're feeling quite flustered, because they will pick up that energy every time. If the timing's not perfect, do what you can to collect as much information, and it is okay. And I had no trouble with it where say the current, you know, the time at such was maybe 12:15. If you knew you had to be at an appointment at 12:30, just explain to them, I wanted to connect with you and personally introduce myself. I am on my way to an appointment, so I've got you set up on hands-free on the phone or whatever it might be. Would love to have this conversation with you. However, if we do need some more time, what would be another time to connect with you later this afternoon in case we run out of time? And every time I did that, I found people to be extremely accommodating, and they tended to get to the point more too, which was lovely. But they were grateful to have that 15 minutes, that 10 minutes just to be able to offload, because that's what they genuinely want to do. When they make that call, they're wanting to speak to someone who can assist them in making the next best decision forward for them and for their investment. So if you can allow them to be heard, even if it's in an initial shorter space of time, and then you allocate that time where needed, you will find that you will still have great opportunity to be the agent of choice. And you will also find that they will share everything they need to, because they want to maximize your time too. They're grateful that you have taken that opportunity. So make sure that your very first point of contact is strong, gives a good impression, and is nice and clear as well for the person that you're connecting with. Tone of voice is really, really important. So a positive hypertone, even if you've come out and you've left a listing appointment, which you, in your mind, you thought this is a given, I will have this one signed up for the end of April, and something does not happen and you are completely deflated and you just think, how did this happen? This was meant to be the listing of the month for me and everything was supposed to work, and that's just not the case. Then you need to remove that energy really, really quickly and not allow that to take over where you're heading to for your next call, next appointment. Almost working like a robot, which sounds extremely crazy, but don't let that negative energy come into your next appointment. I've always found that if I've had a situation where I may not agree with what the outcome has been, and we all like to vent, we all like to get out of the water cooler and share our concerns and frustrations, find something that is one positive learning experience, even if it's to the point where you tell yourself, I know in the future, I do not wish to work with either that person or that type of person. And that has been a learning point for me. And even if it's just that, take it as a positive and then move forward and be really focused and excited on the fact of the opportunities that you still have in front of you. Background noise is a huge thing. We have large, fast-growing property management businesses. Ellen, you would know that I go into offices all the time that are even up to 1,000+ managements. There are some fantastic, massive organizations, and sometimes they're all in this one space, which can be really, really loud, and we sometimes have conversations that aren't so great either. So be really aware of that as a BDM. And if you are doing your prospecting when you are part of the sales team, if you're going into that space or vice versa, think about the conversations that are happening in the background and what your team members are doing and how loud they are. I found I was best to try and prospect away from everybody because I get quite loud and passionate and excited when I'm on the phone. So I knew that it wasn't the best environment for me to be amongst the property managers. Quite stressful for them. So do really think about that background noise. Your choice of on hold music. A few times I've phoned companies where they've had the local radio playing, which is a great thing. You've got some comfortable music playing there in the background. And then as I was put on hold, a competitor of their business was running a radio ad. So they're basically just advertising everybody else's ads, whether it be real estate or whatever it might be. So how about maybe taking the opportunity, if you prefer to have a bit of a musical theme to the background, that you download that music and have it as a preset running CD or MP3 or whatever it is you can set up on your phone that's just consistently going without ads. And then that way you know that they're getting that music feel experience, because I do quite enjoy listening to music when I'm on hold, and I think it's great. There's some really good on hold music to have there, but make sure it's an enjoyable one and not advertising other businesses in your area. The length of time to answer the phone, never let it ring out. So if you are in an office where a lot of calls are coming through and reception is just consistently slammed with a lot of inquiry, and this was something that worked really well in the office that I was working in, if the phone wasn't picked up within the first 3 rings, and that meant reception was busy. So each of the property managers would take turns throughout the day of then they are the next point of call. They are the next point of call. It wasn't just one person that they had to pick up on the 4th ring. Everybody took their turn and the shifts adjusted across morning to afternoon. And I can't recommend that enough, because the last thing you want is that you get someone that picks up the phone and goes, oh, I've got to pick up the phone again because no other person, I had other words I was about to say there, I thought, no, I won't. Nobody else in the office is thinking that they should do that. And then that energy again, that frustration has gone straight into that phone call. So don't be angry about it. Make a plan that everybody takes their turn, and you'll find that then everybody will get the opportunity to still have their time, that they wait till the 6th or the 8th ring. I don't think it's going to go too much further past that. But in those high pressure times when there's a lot of calls coming in, do your best to chip in and have your go as well. Link the time to answer the call. We've got that one there. And are you barking demands or encouraging open conversation with your prospect on their email? So do make sure that you're not just barking at them and telling them what's expected of them. Actually take the time to listen to their concerns and what they need. Not barking at them. I think I mentioned earlier, to allow them to be heard. And there'll be so many cues if you just allow them to be heard in the very beginning. Yes, they might not take a breath for the first 10 minutes and you think, wow, how did they just talk the whole time for 10 minutes? But there will be so many hidden secrets and hidden cues in that 10 minutes that will actually create where this relationship is going moving forward, and will be of so much assistance to you. The other things to look at and consider as well is look at where your business is positioned. are you being seen at a higher ranking on Google compared to your competition as well? Because remember, people will be typing in to the location of your area and looking for property management. You can enhance that by paying for Google Ads. You can obviously invest as little or as much as you like in that area. But one thing that I love, and I'm a huge follower of Josh Cobb stuff as well with steps that he's doing. He's got some really, really good tips out there. Ellen, I also know you've got some fantastic social media tips too, is to just take that time to have great blog content. And the blog content helps increase your rating. I took this opportunity myself to do some rewriting of my own blog content for BDM Academy, and even just changing the titles and then posting them on my website. I was amazed at the change of interaction over that month. Just because I didn't go with a fancy title that I thought, oh, this will be catchy and everyone will love, I actually kept it relevant to that specific and simplified it as though I was talking to a 10-year-old. Every time I think about what I'm posting, will a 10-year-old be able to understand what I'm talking about? So do think about that. Make it as simple, as basic as possible, and as less acronyms as you can, because we know them, but nobody else does. Instant response options, so powerful on your website. I have always done that. BDM Academy did that as part of my process working at Prestige Properties. Encourage that so much more so now. Probably one thing that I feel I failed at personally in this area is I think it's important to review it all the time. I've just recently upgraded and updated mine, and I feel I've probably had the same message for too long, and I should have done that a bit sooner. So for me, and Ellen, I'm happy for you to share your feedback on that as well. Once you're obviously jumping in, is that I would be looking at, at least every 6 to 12 months. It's not something to leave every couple of years, because the times change and what people need and wants are change. So you've got to make sure that what your auto response is sending out there is relevant. Include area codes. This is a really big thing for me with real estate. It's so annoying if I go into search in Google and then I get to your website, because it sends me there by choice, and there's no 02 in front or 07, and I can't then I have to find a pen or hope that I can keep the numbers in my head to type it in. So make it so that they can press go, done. And if you have a lot of international clients, then have your area codes for internationally set up on your website. And I have to put a high fives out there to a lot of my New Zealand clients and many that I do interact with, because they do this really, really well. It's very rare that I come across a New Zealand website that doesn't have the full international area code in front of it. So I suspect that they do get a lot of, whether it be Chinese, Australian, whatever country it is, business. And I would say that our New Zealand friends are doing it better than Australia. I could be wrong, but from my personal interaction with websites, that is what I'm finding at the moment. So take the time to just get into the back end of your website today and have all those area codes included. Also ensure in your keypad communication, it isn't long-winded. We don't need to have huge stories, just something that is going to really help and get to the point of that process as well. Have a planned email response process. So make sure that whether it's you've got your automated response that goes out, but then make sure that as you then connect personally, like I said, have some templates there that are relevant to they've just purchased their property or they're experiencing that they want to go through that handover process. So have steps on what that they can do to simplify that as much as possible. I'm certainly happy to, and after the session, if people are wanting to get just an idea, I can even share a sample of what that looks like. I know you've seen quite a few of them, Ellen, and I'm still the big believer that it's there as a guide, and then you still refine it down to the contact each time. So don't over automate it. Know that this is going to help save you at least 10 minutes, 15 minutes in just typing the whole thing, and then you add the extra bit of flair that you need. Never dance around when you are asked a direct question by the prospect through email. Get to the point. If they do ask you about fees, give them a temptation. Give them something that talks about the fee, and then sit back and let them still come to you. So we were charging 8.5% plus GST, and I would say in my response that is our standard package, and we have multiple fee packages available. So depending on the level of service that you need and also where your property is based and the return that it's going to achieve, we then position you in our fee packages that we offer accordingly. So it's best that if we have this conversation, I can go through and explain that to you as to what's going to suit you best moving forward. So for them, that could be, they could go, well, that could be the top level package to work with Tara, or it could be the bottom level package. We don't know. So let's find out and see what's available there. Ensure your entire team engage with the prospect. Very, very important, so that everyone is comfortable to allow them to be heard, not just take a name, number, bam, get off the phone and get back to what they're doing. I appreciate, understand we are in a very, very fast-paced world, but if we don't take this time to listen, 100%, your competition down the road will, and they'll close the deal on the spot. And it could be someone internally in their business that does it. Offer the opportunity to connect on the phone. It is much better if you can have a phone conversation, even face-to-face conversation with someone. But if they're starting an email first, you can still build a relationship with them in email. In fact, even text message. I see a lot of people texting and a lot of people responding very quickly with texts, because when you text, it's a reminder that comes up on your instant screen, whereas your email doesn't. You have to actually go into your emails on your phone. So that's something to really think about, is that could be a really engaging way for you to keep that contact, and then they can engage when they wish to. You can see when they've read it, you can see when they're thinking, you can open up and you can see the little thing kind of buzzing around, oh, they're thinking, or they're looking at my text at the moment. So you've got that chance to know that they are interested in engaging as well. Include unique things that make it unique and more lead magnets, and Ellen absolutely has some fantastic lead magnets coming up to talk to you about. I'm okay with including fees. As I said, do it as though you are putting the fishing rod out there and you've got the bait and it's just there. If that's not for you, I still don't mind if you want to hold your fees. That's perfectly fine. But for me, it wasn't something I was afraid of. I knew that we were the most expensive in the area, and it wasn't of concern to me to put it out there. So I was also aware that everyone wants to talk fees and also take the opportunity to negotiate. So why not allow them to see it? Just don't put everything, and definitely don't say that you're negotiable as well in that email. Remove that from your email if that is something that you have, and create that next touch point, because remember, only 2 people in this whole experience of 15 officers actually continued that touch point with me. So that's, very, very concerning, that's where it got to. That was all that was able to be achieved. And I'm doing more and more of this for clients where they've asked for my assistance with it, and I've got quite a few clients that have taken off a lot of the ideas that we've done with this one and many others in the past. I've done mystery shops on my clients as well. I really enjoy that part of it, because I think it demonstrates to me what's happening as an industry, but it gives so much information and value back to yourselves as well. And it's just a really good way to review your processes and systems, so you can find a bit more about your competition and also about yourself. Take note, if you had someone refer you business, ask that question. It's a really good question to find out about in that conversation. Probably not as much on the email when you're talking to them, unless the opportunity comes up to do so, but definitely in the phone conversation. It allows you to then go, okay, well, they were referred by the local accountant, or they were referred by a current client of ours, or maybe they're referred by 2 or 3 of your referrers. And if you know that's the case, you can think, well, these guys are super hot because 3 people have referred them. So they must be thinking, wow, I need to be really working with this business if 3 people are going to put their hand up and say, you need to do this. Utilize that to your advantage. Ask questions, especially if you work with them or more one-on-one as a person in that industry or in a group. So make sure they're really good questions that are specific and defined, and also thank the referrer as well. So if the opportunity does come up that it is a lead source from a referral partner, know who that is, go back and thank them, because you want those leads to keep coming, whether it be that you do that by a quick email that you send to them, or you catch up with them at a regular networking event, or you might actually just see them face to face and you visit them in the office. Whatever it is, take the opportunity to do that. I'm such an advocate for networking events, because I've got all of them in one space, and it's the best thing for me personally, because I feel as though I can just knock off a heap of my calls and communication points all in that one session. And I know networking is designed to meet new opportunities, but it is so much also designed to stay connected with those that are working really hard on behalf of your business. And if you've got anywhere from 5 to 10 businesses that are referring you business and you're doing the same, hands down, you'll be a very, very powerful source within your marketplace. So this is where I now hand over to my good friend Ellen. So let's just check how you're coming across there, Ellen, voice-wise, because it seemed to be a little bit quiet. So I'm not sure if that's adjusted because of my talking or if we may actually need those headphones again.
Oh, okay. How are we sounding from my end?
Test it. We'll test. Yeah. Look, let's test it with that first and just get a bit of feedback. So we're just going to do the changeover here now. And the great thing is we've got a few questions here, so I'll keep an eye on those. But I just thought I'd throw it out there, Ellen, if you want to start doing a bit of talking, if anyone's concerned about your voice levels, I'll let you know.
All right, that sounds great. So Tara, it looks as though I can't adjust the slides, so can I just ask you to adjust them when it's time?
Sure.
Because it looks as though I probably can't. I'm just checking. I don't think I can. Yeah, it doesn't look as though I can get my screen. But that's okay. That's what my screen looks like.
Happy to do it for you.
Awesome. So step 5 in this process of improving your landlord conversions is about sending landlords something useful and quite memorable. So if you want to go to the next slide, Tara, I'll step you through some things that you can be sending to prospective landlords that will actually make you memorable and also that will be useful for your landlords. So I always think the video is super memorable. And I know that so many of us start out being really uncomfortable with being in front of video, but the best way to get comfortable in front of video is just to do it. And so sending a personalized video message to potential landlords is a super memorable way of making an impression on them. How are we going for sound at the moment, Tara?
Good. Everyone's put through X. I've just noticed some questions. It's funny that a few questions come through saying, what is the best way to start? And you're in that right direction. So the juice of everything that you need, guys, is coming through Ellen's second half of the presentation.
Awesome. Cool. So I'm actually going to share with you at the end a video tool that I use in my business and I encourage my clients to use so that you can send personalized video messages. So I'll share that with you a few slides later. Lead magnets are really powerful when it comes to sending something to people. So we all get those emails from potential landlords to say, can you send me your information? Now, obviously, if they're sending an email like this to you, they're also sending it to potentially your competitors as well. So you're all going to send your presentation document or your About Us document, but it's valuable to also send them something else that's useful. So it might be an ebook, it might be a checklist, it might be a step-by-step guide. I've put an example of something that my members have access to, which is the 7 secrets to renting your investment property fast. And this is just about a 13-page guide stepping landlords through the 7 secrets to renting your investment property fast. So this is the type of thing that could be used even if the client doesn't select you to manage their property, but it will make you super memorable. So they're more likely to select you to manage their property. Do you want to go to the next slide for me?
Sure thing.
Thank you. So yeah, video and some sort of a lead magnet is what I encourage people to send, just so that you look a little bit different from your competitors and from what your competitors are sending as well.
Next one there. That gives you the points.
Cool. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so step 6 is about your follow-up process. Now, a follow-up process is really important for the clients that you convert, but also for the people that you don't convert. In fact, it's almost more important for the ones that you don't convert. So you go out, you do your listing presentation, but you don't get the signature. But you know that these people have an investment property and are needing a property manager. And if you are the best in your area, then you know that eventually your competitor is going to let them down. So you want to make sure that you stay in touch with these people on a regular basis. So I suggest that you need to have a systemized, consistent way of following people up. And that needs to be ideally a weekly email to them. And if you can't do weekly, don't leave it any longer than monthly. You want to be sending these clients valuable content. So it should be your blogs or your articles or your newsletters. So in an ideal world, you'd write a blog each week, you'd publish it on your website, and then you would send it to your database so that they're getting useful information and so that they're hearing from you more often than they're hearing from their current property manager. And that makes a real impression on people. If you're there providing useful, quality information and their current property manager is not, who are they going to call when things get tough? Now, there is a bit of a ratio with sending information versus asking for new business. So the ratio is you need to send about 4 to 5 pieces of valuable content, so 4 to 5 blog posts out via email over 4 to 5 weeks before you make an invitation for them to come and work with you. That's the ratio. That's widely accepted in just general email marketing worlds. So that's what you should be doing. So send them a blog each week for a month, and then on the 5th week, you might say, hey, do you want to organize a strategy session with one of our property managers to do a property health check or something like that? If you don't have time to create your own blogs, I've got a special offer for you at the end that will help save some time with that. You need to make it easy for people to talk to you.
Yes.
So I've got a little piece of software that is free or has a free version that I'm going to share with you today that will make it easier for people to book appointments to actually talk to you on the phone, and they can do that no matter the time of day. And you can actually come into the office the next morning and go, oh my goodness, I've got an appointment to ring Mr. Landlord about their property. So that's a cool piece of software I'll share with you. Please use your CRM to automate all of this, because if you're sending a weekly email and you also need to remember to have personalized touches as well. So a little phone call here and there, or an SMS, or a birthday card, or an anniversary card, or something like that. You can't remember all of this. So you need to make sure that you rely on your CRM to prompt you to do these things. I'm going to share a couple of CRM options with you at the end, including the CRM that I use, but also a free version as well if you don't already have like a real estate specific CRM in your office. I'll get you to flick over to the next page if that's all right, Tara.
Yeah, just as that's changing, you know, there's so many systems that will probably be in many of these businesses now, and they're just not being used to their capacity. You know, whether it be from your CRM to your trust program, you should really certainly take the time to have that conversation after the webinar to find out if you are using it to capacity, and if not, why. And then if it's not something you're comfortable with, find something that is and go hard with it.
That's right. And I heavily rely on my CRM, and I know that I'm only using a fraction of it. I know that all of our whatever CRM you're using, it can probably do more than you're using it for, and it can probably save you truckloads of time, and can still make your clients or prospective clients feel super important because it can automate your communications with them. Step 7 is about technology, and this is one of my favorite things to talk about. If you can go to the next slide, I'm actually going to share with you 5 pieces of technology that you might want to look at for your own business. Now, I don't have big summaries here. If you want a full summary with prices and features and all of that, if you go to rentrollstarter.com.au/list of tools, pop your name and email address in there, and you'll get an email from me with hyperlinks to all of these tools and a more thorough description of all of them and pricing as well. So if you don't want to have to write it down or find it, you can do that. Bonjoro is the app that I use for sending video messages, and it's an app that I just put on my phone, and I can record a personalized video message for someone and send it off to them straight away. I get lovely feedback from people when I send that to them, and it's made me feel way more comfortable with video as well. And now I might regret saying this, but if you download the list of tools today, and if you would like to experience what it's like to receive a Bonjoro message, just reply to that email to me and just say, please send me a Bonjoro video, and I will record one personally for you. Because it's really nice to be on the receiving end so that you can see what it's like. So if you're on the webinar and you fill in that form, I'll send one to you.
And Ellen, I started doing it as well because I had seen that you did one and that I got, and I went and had a look at it, and it is so easy to use.
Yes.
It's really, really cool, and it's free for part of it, so why not?
There is a free version. I use the paid version because I want my branding on it, but there is a free version. Ontraport is the CRM that I use in my business. It is not real estate specific, but for me, it does everything I need it to do in terms of landing pages and email automation and all of that. But there's a stack of fabulous real estate CRMs that are industry specific, so they're also your multi-uploader as well. Now, if you don't already have something in your business for managing bulk emails, MailChimp can be a great place to start because you can get a free version. And as your list grows, there's a small charge with it. It's not very expensive at all though. And it can actually link in with HubSpot, which is a free CRM, or there's a free version of HubSpot as well. So you can actually have a really good CRM like HubSpot and a really good email marketing tool and not pay anything for it. So that's super cool. And if you're not using a bulk email tool or a CRM in your business already, check out one of these. They're not industry specific, but they're a really good starting point. And then Calendly is one of my favorite tools. This is a piece of software that also has a free version that you can link in with your online calendar, and it allows your current clients or prospective clients to book time slots in your diary based on Calendly can see your diary and see where you've got space, and they can schedule time slots for a phone call with you. So this is a nice way of allowing people who maybe make an inquiry on your website at 10 o'clock at night to be able to schedule a phone call with you without having to talk to you, because you're probably, hopefully, not checking your emails at 10 o'clock at night, but they can actually jump on your website and book a phone call. If you want to see how this works, please don't book out my calendar, but if you want to see how this works, you can go to rentrollstarter.com.au/call, as in phone call, and you'll be able to see what that looks like if you want. Don't go booking stacks of appointments in my diary unless you particularly need to talk to me. But that's a really great tool as well. So and it has a free version.
Property managers, balance-wise, they can be, regardless of the evening stuff, but out and about, and then have clients booking in appointments with them if they need to. So they're not having to then have that conversation and then rebook that, call again.
Exactly. And so back to your point about autoresponders, Tara, certainly if you wanted to use something like Calendly in your autoresponder so that you could say to people, if there's a particular topic you need to talk to me personally about, click here and then hyperlink it to your Calendly link. Click here to book a phone call with me. And then you can decide how long you allow, 15 minutes or 30-minute calls, and you can set rules around how much time between phone calls and all of that sort of stuff as well. So
I was going to throw that to you, Ellen. You'd have to make sure in that program that you're pretty clear with your hours during the day, and that would have to be, I would assume, maybe a month in advance, because you just don't know how far in advance people wanting to book as well.
You can select. So when you set up your Calendly account, you select what days you're available, what times during the day, how much time between appointments you want to allow, and how far in advance you want people to be able to book. So for me, I allow people to book about a month in advance. I'm only available certain days. And sometimes I'll look at my diary and go, oh my goodness, I thought I was going to have Wednesday available to have calls with people, but I'm on a deadline to get a webinar slide deck organized. So I will just jump into my Google Calendar and just highlight the
Block
whole
it.
day, put it not available, and Calendly can tell straight away. It's live and it can tell what's available in your calendar. So yeah,
Excellent.
if you want more details on that, just go to the link below and you'll get an email from me with full descriptions on all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So can I get you to go to the next slide? Because I've got a little offer that I want to share with people today that's specifically designed for if you're having trouble coming up with content to send out to your database. So if you don't have time to write your own blogs and articles, what we've done is my team has, over the last 12 months, been writing blog articles for my members. And they're specifically designed for landlords and tenants. And what I've done is I've packaged up the last 52 blog posts and put them into one zip file. And they're available for you today to purchase if you would like to. So all you need to do is you'll download them. I always suggest you customize them because you need to make them sound like you and your office. And because they are pre-written by my team. So you need to go in and customize them. But they're available for you to purchase until 5 o'clock Friday afternoon, just for $157. And then I'm also throwing in, yeah, I know.
That's awesome.
A video training that I've recorded that is all about writing amazing blogs, and it actually will step you through the process of using these blogs and customizing them. And then what you need to do to take it like to the next level, once you're ready to write your own blogs, that includes the formula for a great blog post as well. So if something like that interests you, if you don't want to have to write your next 52 weeks of blog posts yourself, go to rentrollstarter.com.au/blog-pack. The deal is only available till tomorrow afternoon, though, at 5 o'clock, and then the page comes down. So just a special offer for our attendees today.
Yeah, look, such a timely offer to Ellen, because I know personally, regardless of the size of the business, that's always the conversation point that comes up. And I can tell my members, they know I've got samples, but nowhere near to the extent that you do, Ellen. So I'm a huge supporter of what you do, and I think it's amazing that your team have developed that, because that is always the pinpoint of what do I talk about, and whether you use them as just written blogs or you use that content for your video. Ideas and stuff that you're wanting to post, there is just an immense amount of value there. So definitely huge support of that program that you've got there, Ellen. And this was a discussion that we both had prior to putting the webinar together, was to, I guess, give a taste of different things that we offer that could be relevant to those of you who are joining us. At the end of the day, we'll see us here online every quarter, because we just love sharing what we both see within other businesses that we work with and experiences that happen. So again, questions, continue to throw them in there. There are quite a few that have come up, Ellen, that you have answered extremely well as part of your presentation, and certainly people wanting to know tools to start up. And I think that's the biggest stress, is what tools do I use and how much is it going to cost me? Because when you're a startup, your cash flow is at the biggest risk.
No money.
In general. No. So this, when I was having a conversation with Ellen to work out, there's lots of different products that I have as well, and same for Ellen within her business. And the one that I've introduced this year is the 6-week program, which I'm loving. I'm blown away with some of the results that I'm receiving, and it's been quite refreshing to do this one-on-one with those that choose to just do the 6-week program. And then after that, I find some people, you know what, I'm working really well with this accountability and I need more of it, which is even better. So the 6-week program is just that. It runs over 6 weeks. You get access and taste of our resource library, so you get to experience that. You get to see if you are comfortable with working with myself over that 6-week period, and then not feeling as though you're locked into a 12-month or larger contract by any means. You've got the full template, which the checklists and procedures following through from that start with creating the foundations through to then taking action. So the first week is collecting all the information and data that you need to get started. And the amount of times I work with offices where they are that 500, 1,000 properties, and there's such simple things that you would think that you either A, have implemented and it's working, is actually maybe not working as well as you had hoped. needs to be reviewed, or they're simple things that you thought were implemented in the business and then they're just there anymore. You don't know why or what's going on, because we keep growing and we miss those things very easily. And I think I referred to working on my website recently. I was blown away with some stuff where I thought, wow, that's terrible. I need to update this now very quickly. This has been way too long. So it is easy to go and miss that. And within the 6-week program, we do a complete overhaul. And it's designed for whether it's a full assessment of the business for the growth model or full assessment of you as an individual as well. It can be done every week. It's preferred option is every week for 6 weeks. However, I do offer it that you can do it fortnightly. I've had some people that have chosen to do it fortnightly instead of weekly. That's worked a bit better for them. And it just depends, I guess, on what you're most comfortable with. But I think if you left it every month for 6 months, you just wouldn't have that same experience. It's way too far apart. And the expectation is each week you report back with the activities that you need to achieve. So you've got your template for the 6-week program, and then you've got your weekly accountability plan. And for those that are members online know my weekly accountability plan is just the 2 pages, but it's very much straight to the point. How many calls have you made? How many appraisals have you achieved? And if you can't answer those questions, then you really need to be assessing where you are spending your time as a BDM, how many meetings that you've had, how many networking events you've joined. It does ask that all very quickly. It includes a copy of the book and the DVD as well, which you would normally pay $147 for on the website. That's all included as part of the investment. So there are 2 options there. I've got a couple of questions. I know with yours, Ellen, and that's a once-off payment of the $157 there. So I'm thinking that question might be referred to myself as, can you pay it off? For mine, yes, certainly. So that's either $850 up front, which gives you that $50 discount, or you can pay each week at $150 and have that set up weekly, if that's an easier approach for you to take and more affordable for you to balance that out that way. But I will say that I find that anyone who does this program and puts in the energy, because I will always get asked that, will I get results? Yes, you will get results, and you know this, Ellen, if you do it. if you just sit there and hope that the world will change, I can guarantee you it's not going to happen there for you. And you can put all great technology procedures and wonderful stuff that you've shared, Ellen, in place. But if you don't have people calling you, and if you're not calling them, then there will be nothing happening. So the 6 weeks is 100% about that. It's a complete transformation of yourself and a transformation of the business as well. You can, I find that with the program, and I see that there's a couple of questions about also making the staff accountable as well. The topics that I cover are quite variations, and I'd say that would be the same in your training model as well, Ellen. I know that you're definitely very focused on the startup business, which is fantastic, and have been extremely successful with that as well with your clients. But it's still not a one-size-fits-all. I think if you have a pain point, a pressure point you need either of us to help you with, we will do that to the capacity that we can. And then certainly make suggestions in directing you on the right path. And I know for Ellen and I, we're quite comfortable in referring those opportunities to each other. I know that if there's a question, and she gets them from me all the time, and I'll refer people and say, on social media and some of the amazing stuff you do on a tech base, I would highly recommend speaking to Ellen. She's very well talented in that area. So at any stage, if there's questions like that, you can rest assured that I feel confident between both of us we have the answer. Not around legislation, we both stay away from that because every state likes to have different legislation. But on a general level across property management, rent roll growth, and BDM, we can certainly assist you there. And with a 6-week program, it probably is more personalised to the individual, but you can select to do activities as your goal within that 6 weeks that can help make the team accountable. So yes, I think it can be about the team as well, but I would suggest that the main point of contact is one-on-one, and then you take that action and that activity, and then you encourage the team to do what needs to happen to keep them on track and accountable with that situation, which is great. So I won't go heavier and much into that. It was more just, I guess, for both of us, we wanted to give you a taste of what you can have, and appreciate that everyone still stayed online to hear us out on that section as well. There have been some questions questions too that I have noted down here, Ellen, for both of us. And the video text one had come up as to how long it should be for the video text.
Oh, yeah, sure. So I always try and keep them under a minute just because people's attention span isn't great. So you want it to be fairly short and to the point. So as probably a great example of that will be if the person who's asking the question shoots me an email, I will actually send one to them so that they can experience what it's like and how a minute feels. Because a minute on video actually feels like a long time. So yeah, I try no longer than a minute.
Excellent. And the other one that I had brought up as well, with the huge support there with the 7 secrets to rank your property, I think that is so cool. It's such a fantastic template that you can then provide as a value add. Separate to obviously being automated from your email, would you suggest, and there's been questions around other areas of the business that you could use it. In my mind, I'm thinking it could be something you could leave at the property prior to the appointment. Would there be other areas that you would use that template as well?
Yeah, absolutely. If you develop a product like that, it should be everywhere. So my opinion is it should be all over your website, because if your website is not capturing leads, then it's not really doing its job. So you want this lead magnet of some sort to be all over your website, on your homepage and on a variety of other pages, so that people are invited to give you their email address in return for this lead magnet. So don't give it away willy-nilly, as in they can't have it unless they give you their contact details, because it's valuable. So, but an email address is a fair exchange for that. So, so use it on your website. Yeah, absolutely. Drop it off before you attend the listing presentation as a bit of a shock and awe package. Yeah, you could use it absolutely everywhere, and you should be using it with your referral partners as well, because you know, if you do a guest blog for your accountant, for example, at the bottom of your guest blog, you want a hyperlink. Click here to download your copy of the 7 Secrets for Renting Your Investment Property Fast, and then build an email autoresponder so people can get that immediately. But yeah, you want to use it everywhere.
Excellent. Now, we're still recording this, and I've had a few people that have said they've had to go, but would love to watch the recording. So we'll definitely make sure that's all sorted. I wouldn't say by this afternoon, just to confirm with everybody, but we will have it set up, and then all those that are attendees, we've obviously got your details there from registering. We'll make sure that that comes out to you, and you'll be able to watch it over, I would suggest, next 24 to 48 hours is probably a comfortable estimate to work with. But 2 more questions. One is actually a really good one, Ellen, and it's something that I've had on my mind too, and I'll throw it at you because it is a Facebook question. Is around, it's quite a busy space now. And so the question's kind of been raised as to, I've done some Facebook ads and I've had some good results, some not, but I feel that space is quite busy and I don't just want to invest my time in just that. Would you suggest a investor group for my area? Is that something that you found by creating groups and having interaction has worked for your clients? So that's where the question is heading, is if it's not a Facebook ad, are there alternatives that you suggest with Facebook?
Yeah, so as probably a lot of you know, Mark Zuckerberg announced earlier this year that there would be a change in the algorithm to Facebook, and that they're going to be focusing more on more personal content and more relational, engaging stuff. So they are actually making a move toward showing more activity that's happening in groups, and sort of favoring that in your newsfeed. So I think there is a huge opportunity for groups in that case. Certainly, if you think about the groups that you're involved in and how much more you see those posts than the pages that you like. So yes, I think groups definitely are super valuable in that respect. I think you need to keep in mind that when people join a group, they're wanting it to be collaborative and interesting and useful. They're not wanting it to be too salesy. So you have to play that balance really well. So if you invite a bunch of property investors to a group, make sure that you're being useful, interesting, engaging, and consistent, so that you've got a real schedule and a plan in that respect, and make sure you're not too salesy. It's fine to offer your services here and there, but have people leave the group if you're too salesy. But yes, I think it's a great opportunity in Facebook.
Yeah. And I have to agree with you though there, Ellen, because we've got our own groups we run for our members. They're closed, private, so that's probably not going to, I wouldn't think that would be showing. But the one I started a very long time ago, the Real Estate Business Development Community, I've definitely seen a change of trend, and I've been thinking of different ways to interact too. I've thrown in polls and different things, but I'm seeing more engagement. I'm seeing more followers and people liking it. So I guess if you can, create something similar, probably your location based and for property investors, there'll be huge power within your marketplace for that as well.
Yeah.
And getting started. Now, lots and lots of questions around the startup, which a lot of them would have been answered on a cost kind of level and tech level there. And I do encourage that if you are starting out, that you 100% should speak to Ellen, because it's not just the startup of setting up your website, setting up your CRM, and setting up, if you're going to work from home or have a lease or whatever that might be. But looking at things along the lines of the questions kind of been raised there, are there things that I should be concerned about, that if I don't do it, that it's going to put my business into crisis mode? And when I look at this question, I kind of wonder, I don't think this person's actually at a startup. I think they've obviously got a few properties under their belt, and if they're protecting themselves well is the direction of the question. So you've got business insurance and different things. As you grew your rent roll, Ellen, were there things that you picked up along the way that you think, I wish I had maybe business insurance here, or I wish I had that there?
Yeah. I have one really big regret about my startup process, and this is why I talk to all of my clients about this, and that's around getting really solid advice around your entity structure. When I first started, I had heard about using an untraded entity. If you want more information on this, I know of an article where a specialist business lawyer who specializes in rent rolls has written an article about this. So flick me an email and I'll find it for you and I'll send it to you. However, my biggest regret is that I did not set up this style of entity structure at the beginning. I think it probably had, look, I don't like to think too much about how much of an impact it had when I sold it. I wonder if it made about $70,000 difference when I sold my rent roll.
Wow. Yeah.
I wonder if I had been set up a little bit better, if that transition would have worked out. So I did bring it up with my accountant when I first started, and he said, oh no, that's an extra like $1,500 or so, just set up as a regular company. So that's what I did. In hindsight, I wish I spent the extra money. It would have made the sale of the rent roll easier, because we wouldn't have had to re-sign management agreements or Form 6s. But and I think that would have had an impact on the sale price and the retention. So that's the one big regret I have. I try not to think about it too much, and so I share it with my clients, but get really solid advice from a business lawyer who knows rent roll sales. So don't use your regular lawyer, don't use your regular accountant. Find someone who has experience with rent roll sales, and if you can't find someone, find a broker who knows someone.
And they'll refer you. Yeah. And that's probably, though, still, Ellen, that something that they could change now in their property management business if they chose to.
Yeah, you can't, if you change it now, you can't move your current properties into that entity. Well, you can, but if you do, then you'll have to pay stamp duty and capital gains tax. So it's not worth moving them across, because the ATO will see that like an asset sale. And if you've grown organically, then you've got no capital loss. So it's pure capital gain. So if you haven't done it yet, it's not too late, but you need to get some good advice around what you do in terms of what you do with your current properties, new properties you bring in.
Absolutely. Well, that is some extremely valuable information. Thank you, Ellen. And I do hope that for those that are still online and have continued to follow us with past webinars, we're pretty good. We've nailed it now and making sure that we've got it right and working and sound and all sorts of things. So I'm delighted that we have also achieved that again. I thank you all so much for your attendance and being a part of this. And just if you do have, and I've just stopped the recording